week na po tayo, ha? 8th week. And maganda po ang tema natin. So pakinggan natin ang basis ng ating pinag-aaralan, ang ating sharing dito. Ito po coming from the book of Sirach.
Children, pay heed to a father's right. Do so that you may live. For the Lord set a father in honor over his children. A mother's authority he confirms over her sons. He who honors his father atones for sins. He stores up riches who reveres his mother. He who honors his father is gladdened by children, and when he prays, he is heard. He who reveres his father will live a long life. He obeys the Lord, who brings comfort to his mother. My son, take care of your father when he is old. Grieve him not as long as he lives. Even if his mind fail, be considerate with him. Revile him not in the fullness of your strength. For kindness to a father will not be forgotten. It will serve as a sin offering.
Brothers and sisters, gusto kong ilagay ang kontesto ng ating narinig, no? Ginagamit po yan every Holy Family Sunday. Right after Christmas is a Sunday called Holy Family. First reading po yan from the book of Sirach. Ano ba itong librong ito? Tingnan po natin ang introduction na hindi madalas nakikita sa maraming Bibles. Bakit? Well, una sa lahat, ang mga Hudyo, they don't accept that this book of Sirach is so-called inspired by the Holy Spirit, by God. Hindi siya salita ng Diyos. Kasi, it is only found in the Greek translation of the Bible. Marami ibang protestante din. They don't accept the whole book of Sirach. Meron kayo makita mga Biblia nasa likod ng Last Prophets. So, ano pa ang ating Catholic tradition? It's part of the tradition that this is inspired text, inspired literature. Just imagine what we have just read and heard about chapter 3 of this book. So, tingnan niyo po ang introduction, no? Saan to galing? Sa isang lolo, pangalan Jesus. Jesus. Na meron siyang wisdom na isinalin niya, itransmit niya, hinand over niya sa kanyang anak. Ito yung tatay ng nagsulat ng Sirach, the book of Sirach. Kaya minsan, they talk about this as the book of the son of Sirach. Ben Sirach. Very important. Transmission ng isang lolo sa kanyang apo. Ano yun? Wisdom. Ano po ang wisdom? Hindi po to katalinuhan. Kasi maraming taong matatalino at maraming alam. Pero ilan po, sa laki ng kanilang kaalaman, isinasabuhay ang kanilang alam. Marami din naman po ibang tao, konti lang po ang pinag-aralan, konti ang kaalaman, pero gamit na gamit sa pang-araw-araw na buhay. Maging practical ang kanyang pinag-aralan. Practical wisdom. Wisdom is knowledge and behavior. Magkasama. You walk your talk. Yan ang ibig sabihin ng wisdom. So what is this wisdom na isinasalin sa atin with this book of Sirach? It is focused on children. On how to actually, sabihin natin, live out the fourth commandment. Honor your father and your mother. What is to honor one's father? Balikan po natin yung text. Tingnan nyo, ang ganda po ng matatanggap ng mga bata if they really honor their father and mother. Number 1 po, patatawarin ang kanilang mga kasalanan. Atonement of sins. Pangalawa, sino may ayaw nito? prosperity. They will be prosperous in life. Pangatlo, they will have children. Pang-apat, their prayers will be answered. Saan ka nakakita na ang mga dasal, yung totoong ayon sa kalooban ng Diyos? Sapagkat anyway, they honor their father and mother. They actually do what God commands. God answers their prayer. Long life. Long life. And finally, it becomes an offering for their sins. Atonement means forgiveness. The other is a sin offering. Kabaitan sa mga magulang, even if their mind fail. Think about it, ha? Kahit ulyanin na ang inyong mga magulang, kapag inyong talagang sinunod, minahal, ginalang nirespeto, ginagawa nyo ang kalooban ng Diyos. Bakit? Saan ba galing ang ating mga magulang? Pinili ba natin yan sa SM? Nagpunta po ba tayo ng palengke? Naghanap tayo ng tatay at nanay? Bigayan sa atin ng Diyos. Kagaya ng bigay tayo sa kanlas ng Diyos. So therefore, ang mga magulang natin represents the gift of God to us. And when we honor them, God's gift comes also pouring, bestowing on each one of us. So mahalaga po kayong mga magulang, do not be shy to exact the fourth commandment. Teach your children from the very beginning to honor your good word, your right behavior. It's very important, my dear parents, to teach children to obey you. Bakit? Obedience po. Obedience po talaga, brothers and sisters, will always be used in our life. We have to obey the laws of our land, especially those who are not against the law of God. But we will always have to obey God. Where do we learn obedience if not the parents exact it from their children? But it will benefit the children. Parents, look at the benefit that your children will draw from honoring and obeying you. And it will also benefit you in old age. Just imagine po, iba't ibang lugar sa mundo, lalo sa mga developed countries like United States or Europe, they have hospices for the elderly. Kinalimutan na po ng mga anak. Ang tagal bago bisitahin. Thanksgiving Day daw. Baka birthday, hindi panpunta eh. Isipin nyo ng konti yung magandang sine sa Netflix, 7 Sundays. Tingnan nyo po, ang ganda. Tungkol sa pamilya. Tungkol sa mga anak, sa kanilang regard and reverence and respect for their children. Pero brothers and sisters, this love for our parents, even in their old age, next week po, yan ang ating tema. But for now, I'd like to share with you 5 children from Hong Kong. And they would want to tell us how obedience to their parents has become their success in life. These are millennials. These are not in their old age. Wala pa itong mga asawa, pero 5 silang magkakapatid. 2 lalaki na sinundan ng 3 babae, and they all commend their parents.
I've been blessed by God through being obedient to my parents. In my youth, I didn't really have any idea of how to prepare for my future in terms of my career path and the dispositions I needed to have to achieving such goals. It was only through the advice of my parents that I finally selected a certain course to take. And over the years, thankfully, I was able to graduate, and it led me to the stable job I have now. And looking back, I realized that I would not be in this position today if not for the parents who really knew and understood me. They knew what I was capable of and was able to give me the proper guidance according to my needs, according to what I had to offer. And another thing that I realized was that with the promptings of the Holy Spirit, I realized that their guidance would be fruitless if I had not been given the gift of obedience. And had I not taken my parents' advice, I'm sure that my situation wouldn't be as comfortable as it is today. And this is just one example of the effects I experience when being obedient to my parents. And though at times it has proven to be a challenge, especially having different points of view, I remember that God knows best when He assigned my parents to me. And what more, I slowly see God's plan being revealed each time I choose to be obedient to my parents.
Through honoring my parents, I have learned how to make my life a life of service. Ever since we were young, our parents were always involved in the Catholic community, in our church community, serving kids, youth, singles, and even their fellow couples. And at a young age, they would bring us to all those activities that they would be part of and be serving at. And so a big part of our childhood memories were of those moments. And yeah, growing up into our teenage years, we became very active serving in our parish as members of the choir or lectors and altar servers, as well as in our youth group. And there would be weekends when our parents were serving while we would be participating in our own activities. And there will also be these times when we would question our parents, why do you have to be the ones to serve every time? And they always just remind us that it's their way of giving back to the Lord. So fast forward to today, my siblings and I, as we've all grown more mature, there would be a lot of moments where our parents would take one or two of us on mission with them to places like in Macau, and just for us to be a part of their service. So we would just be playing guitar or singing or just even controlling their PowerPoint. And at times even if there are opportunities, they bring 5 of us. And we learn from them how to be selfless with their time, their treasure, and their talent. And even more, we're also able to experience the joy that they do in serving God. I think the biggest blessing from all of this is in learning how to be selfless and making our lives a gift. We are reassured that we will never run out. We'll never be forgotten by God, and He will continue to provide for everything that we need.
Something that I've been blessed with through obeying the 4th commandment is the gift of faith. It wasn't difficult for me to understand the importance of faith because my parents incorporated it into our lives as my siblings and I were growing up. Our parents made sure that we weren't only what they call Sunday Catholics, but really living out the Catholic lifestyle through the way we make decisions, the way we carry ourselves, and most especially how we relate with others. It started with grace before meals and daily rosary, and as we grew older, receiving the sacraments more than once a week, attending recollections, serving in community, and faith-related table talks have played a big role in our life as a family and as individuals. It's safe to say that it's been relatively easier for my siblings and I to push on because we have our parents as our model, as our guide. By honoring my parents, we continue to grow towards the same goal as one family. And I have learned that while it is a struggle to bear Christ's light, it is really a blessing because not only are we rooted in our identity as children of God, but we allow the Holy Spirit to work in and through us to reach other souls too.
Being the 4th out of 5 children, I grew up doing a lot, believing I had to prove myself. And the more things I tried to do, the more I was bound to make mistakes. I used to take my parents' corrections negatively, allowing these to stack up into a pile of insecurities. But by honoring my parents, it also meant to listen well to what they had to say as they raised me, including the things I didn't want to hear. What I hadn't realized then, but wholeheartedly know now, was that it was these corrections from Pop and Mom that have allowed me to never settle for things not from God. By listening and acting on these corrections, I realized that I did not need to believe in proving myself to anyone. It was these loving corrections from my parents that showed me they believed in the person I already was and the person I can become if I continue to strive for excellence in all that I do. Not only did I learn to strive for excellence, but the purpose of this excellence, that all I am and all I am able to do is from God, and that I can honor Him best when I allow Him to shine through my excellence.
By obeying the fourth commandment, I am blessed because through my parents I have learned to accept and see the good in others. I personally am a high achiever. Being a high achiever comes with all the negatives such as the breakdowns, the stress, and the pressure. I tend to bring all these emotions home and it affects everyone in the family. But fortunately, my parents are my support systems. Despite all my flaws and imperfections, my parents still accept and love me for who I am, and that pushed me to do the same. Through this love I'm taught at home, I learned to build relationships and form circles with different groups of people. Although some friendships still come and go, I've learned to move on and see how much they've greatly impacted my life. Even during times like these, I try to remain thankful because of what my parents taught me. My parents are the reason why I've grown into the person I am today. Because of their guidance, I strive to be more like Christ, to see the good in others, and to find opportunities to love.